When I was governor of Arkansas, I was a part of a group of conservative governors, which included people like Jeb Bush and John Engler and Michael Leavitt, who believed that education in one state shouldn't be radically different from education in other states. And we worked to create a program initiative called Achieve. It set national standards in a couple of subjects, grammar and math. Now, the program eventually evolved into what is known as Common Core, adopted in 2010. It's received an enormous amount of backlash from a lot of critics, most of them conservatives, and they say that it nationalizes public education. One of the critics is the founder of the president of the Education Action Group, Kyle Olson, and Kyle joins me now. Kyle, thanks for coming today to talk about Common Core.
Thank you for having me.
It's very controversial. I've had so many people think that, that I've about kind of gone to the devil because, I've been supportive of the basic notion. Tell me what you feel like is the biggest complaint of Common Core.
Well, there's several complaints. And first of all, I think as conservatives, as parents, we want high standards. We want accountable schools. But the problem is this goes well beyond that. To me, one of the biggest problems is data mining. What is happening is the federal government is recommending that states collect over 400 different sets of data on students. And so it's not just,
But that's not Common Core. Common Core was two things, just math and language, and it was not curriculum. It was strictly standards. Now, I agreed, the federal government and or state or local government could come in and call something Common Core, but that's not what it originally was.
Correct. Well, it may not be what it originally was, but it is what it is now, and the data mining is what holds it all together. And so, I believe technology is a good thing in schools, and I believe assessing where kids are at is critical. But what some of the points that they are recommending that schools collect include religious affiliation, medical results, voting history, things that go well beyond how a child is doing in the classroom. And when the Democrats were in charge of the Congress in 2010, they changed the student privacy law, which then gives the federal government and private companies access to this information. And so what's happening is they were setting up our kids to have all of this information released to these parties that, frankly, I don't believe should have it.
Now, I totally agree. None of that information should be mined nor shared. But let me just point out that that is an entity called Common Core of Data, which is not Common Core, the standards, which is a state initiative. So those are two totally separate things, but they have the same term, but they are not the same.
But they are all going together, and that's the problem, is you can't just simply have the standards without all of these other things, because Arnie Duncan and the NGA and all of the other groups that are promoting this won't let that happen. I mean, you look at what Arnie Duncan is doing now, and he's going into states like California and telling them what they can and cannot do. And it all evolves around Common Core. And so I agree with you. We should have high standards. We should have high expectations for students and teachers. But there are better ways to do it. Because what's happening is it's implied that Common Core is the only way to get there, and I disagree with that.
Well, and Common Core is not a pathway, it's a goal. And Arnie Duncan, who's the education secretary under President Obama, he has his own agenda, but Common Core is a state initiative. It is not a federal initiative. The feds don't control it, the states do. And the way I've simply tried to explain it to people, Common Core is like setting up the rules of football. It's 100 yards from one end to the other. The way you play the game inside those boundaries is totally up to you. You can pass, you can run, you can do whatever, but the rules are, here they are, and you have a goal. How you get to the goal is totally up to you. So Common Core doesn't tell you how to score, it just tells you this is what it should look like at the end of the game.
Sure, but the trouble is that may be how it started, but that's not the way it's going. And I believe when they put Common Core into the stimulus and they offered stimulus money for states to adopt Common Core, at that moment, that is where the whole process was corrupted. And in my opinion, that is the moment where conservatives should have said, this is now, this is an Obama thing, and I'm not saying that simply because of President Obama, but this is a federal initiative now. This is being pushed by the federal government, and it's corrupted, and we should be looking for something else.
What we should hope for is that the governors have a responsibility to take this back.
That's right.
And take it over and get it back to what it was intended to be, because that's what should happen. Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you here.